start our topic with the Stanley Cup Playoffs, and so far, week in, it's been pretty darn good. You look at the all-Canadian matchups, Vancouver, Calgary. You also look at Ottawa and Montreal. Montreal has a chance to sweep them tomorrow night. And then you also look at the Winnipeg Jets. You throw in the other series as well, Chicago in there, Minnesota, et cetera, et cetera. We all know that they've been great playoff series. Is there a series that has been, I guess, a standout for you so far?
I'm a big fan of Montreal, so I like watching them beat up on Ottawa there. But as just a fan of hockey, the Winnipeg and Anaheim series has been awesome to watch. Every game's been hard-hitting, comebacks, and real emotional. It's been awesome.
And it seems pretty physical in the Calgary-Vancouver series, too. I think that set a tone where people are enjoying the old-time hockey, as it were. So do you kind of see that here in the playoffs, where the referees are letting things go, things that normally would be suspensions aren't, kind of in the case of Alex Burrows? But what do you guys take of it?
I like it. That's like the West Coast hockey. That's what we're getting into. And the West is so great to watch. I hate Nashville and Chicago playing each other in the first round because that could be a conference final. It's terrible we're getting it in the first round and one of these two teams is going to get eliminated. I like what they've done with the divisions setting up and you play people in your division, but I hate Nashville playing Chicago because they're playing so well, and that series could go either way for me.
Yeah, I really like watching that series too. It's been good too, and I really like watching the Calgary-Vancouver series with all the fights and all that, and all the extra little pushing every once in a while. And I'm a real big fan of that stuff.
Okay, guys. Well, let's move on. Talk about. I know we're only a few weeks in. We're not even in the off season. But yet, you're already seeing a couple GMs be fired. You also see a couple coaches that have been fired as well. You have Peter Chiarelli from Boston. You have Craig Berube, Todd McLellan. Are these three guys, or out of those three guys, who's most likely to actually end up with a job next season?
I think Todd McLellan for sure. Like the guy who's his last 7 seasons in San Jose there, he made the playoffs. This is the first year they haven't made the playoffs. The guys like that, they don't wait around too long before they find a new team. So I think him for sure is going to be the first.
Yeah, the waiting list for him is so long. When you talk about it, Toronto needs a new coach. Edmonton needs a new coach. Philly now needs a new coach. Buffalo will need a new coach. Like, there's such a huge. He's not going to be. If he comes back from the World Cup and doesn't have a team yet, I'd be surprised. But he probably will. But he'll get for sure. Chiarelli's an air guy. He'll get picked. Someone's got to take a chance on him. Same like the Leafs just fired their GM. Perfect opportunity for them to get another GM, experienced GM, knows how to play, knows how to win. Get him in there as well. I'd even say the Oilers should look at. It depends how much you're a fan of Craig McTavish and what he could do, but you could bring in a guy like Chiarelli who knows how to build a team properly. Bring him in, and you almost solved a lot of your problems quickly.
And has done it before easily.
He's won a cup, and it's funny to see a guy get canned because he didn't make the postseason, unlike guys in Edmonton where they haven't for 10 years nearly, and yet still have jobs. Guy who's won a cup before, has been to a cup final as a finalist as well, ends up getting canned. So I think Chiarelli would be a great fit for Edmonton. As for Berube, nobody's going to give him any love?
I don't know. I don't know too much about Berube. It was the first I've ever heard of him when he started coaching in Philly, and then
I think he had a lot of problems with younger players in Philly. So that's what he could probably coach somewhere. I won't say he's going to be, but there's your Todd McLellans, and then depending on what Babcock does, if he goes anywhere, we have to wait for that scenario to play out. So I think and then we don't know yet if Claude Julien's going to be gone or if he is staying. So I think once those elite coaches get picked up first, then we'll see, okay, who's left, who needs a coach, and go there.
Adrian Peterson, reinstated in the NFL last week, is still a member of the Minnesota Vikings, and they don't want to give up their blue chip guy. They know what he's capable of doing. However, he doesn't want to be there. This is a team that, in his mind, rejected him throughout the whole process of the trial, had sponsors leave, so the team said, kind of see you later. Now, that could rub people the wrong way, and I can understand where Adrian Peterson's coming from. But do you think the Minnesota Vikings will trade Adrian Peterson or just simply let him go outright because of a squabble? Or will he be in the purple and white next season?
I think you have to trade him. You can't just drop him for nothing. If you do that, then I don't understand the NFL. It always baffles me when they just drop elite players and don't care what they get for them. Nothing. But I think when it comes to this, he can still play. He's still a great player. He's still an amazing running back. you can get something for him. So you got to trade him.
I bet you they sit on him for, I bet you the first couple of weeks of the season. I bet you he doesn't want to come back, and then he, prolongs it, and they just say, well, you'll just sit out then. And I think he'll do that for the first couple of weeks, and then I think the offers will start coming in, and then I think it'll prolong that way.
Yeah, but he won't be with
I don't
Minnesota
think he'll be in Minnesota
next season.
No.
When
I don't think he'll lace up in the purple ever again.
Yeah, when you're the face of an organization, if you slip past, you don't kind of just mingle again. Not in football, at least.
It should be interesting. All right, how about this? A guy who's making his way back into football, Tim Tebow. I'm excited for this. Philadelphia has given this guy a contract. They have 4 quarterbacks under their roster. You never know what they're going to use with this guy, but I think genuinely he's an amazing athlete. Even throwing him in as a quarterback in a situation in the offense with Chip Kelly, I think is awesome. Do you guys think that Tim Tebow will actually be successful in the NFL this time around with the offense that Chip Kelly has?
I don't think he's going to be successful.
Oh, come on.
I don't. I would love for him to be successful. I just don't think he has what it takes. I think he's a good college quarterback. He's great at running the ball, running that read offense and stuff like that. But I just don't think he's an elite passer in the NFL, and I think that's what they need now.
This is the second time we've talked about Tebow. We're turning into ESPN here. I'm agree. I don't think he's that quarterback you can put in. They're bringing the new rules, and I've read that they're thinking about putting him in as the 1 yard to get that 2 point, be that option kind of quarterback for the extra 1 point. But that's what you pay running backs for, so just let them run in. So I know you love Tebow. I don't know why, but
I think he could work in a scheme, and Chip Kelly is, I guess, crazy enough to put him in a situation to have him excel. And it's not like Tim Tebow is a controversial guy by any stretch. I think he'd be great for the locker room. He'll do whatever the team asks him to do. And I think that works great for a guy who has a system who's familiar with using 2 or 3 running backs, familiar with using 2 quarterbacks, and using a lot of options. And you talk about the read, I think he'd work out great in that set.
I think Chip Kelly's the only coach that could really give him another chance, though, as a college coach kind of coming in. I think he's the only one that would really use all of everything that he can do to be successful, but I just really don't think it's there. And I think I don't know why he hasn't become a fullback yet or a tight end, and I think that is a better route for him.
Well, he's a big boy. He's 6'4", 255 pounds.
Yeah. And my other issue, and the biggest problem, is Sam Bradford. He's your starting quarterback. He's injury prone. So he goes out. You can't just think of Tebow as a scheme. You got to think of him as a suitable backup right now.
I think he'd be your third stringer behind Alex Sanchez. Alex Sanchez would be your backup to Sam Bradford if Bradford's not healthy enough, which actually isn't a bad situation. I think he's kind of a guy who's, you're talking about revolutionizing Tim Tebow with Chip Kelly. Mm-hmm. I think he did that with Alex Sanchez, making him Mark Sanchez, making him an actual good quarterback, a guy who could be successful. And we saw that with Foles. We saw that last year with Sanchez. I think it could work for Tebow as well.
I think it just comes down to how much you think you're actually going to get out of running these plays. If you think you're going to get a lot of points, fine. If you're not, you can't take up running a roster spot on a third-string quarterback that you're going to put in every once in a while to trade how many points a game. He has to be creating, in my opinion, for that to happen, at least I'll say 3 to 5 points a game. If he's not, then he's not worth having that roster spot.
There's a reason why you don't see the Wildcat every time now, right? It's not 2010 anymore. Everyone's kind of figured it out, and they don't run it that
was a fad with Nick Saban, and it didn't work out afterwards.
Yeah.
It's still a college thing, but hey, you never know. We're going to have to cut you off there. And the reason being is because we got over-under. We're going to pay our bills first. We got over-under next.